Everyone. So here's our wrestling news of the day for September 5th, 2024. Hulk Hogan signs a new WWE deal. Roman Reigns talks about being a babyface and a heel. A certain WWE legend was not interviewed for the Vince McMahon documentary, and the trailer for Vince McMahon's documentary was released. We give our thoughts on it. All those videos are included in this one. Thank you all for watching. So Roman Reigns gave his thoughts on being a heel or a babyface. So we're reading a tweet from WrestleOps here. They say Roman Reigns was asked if it's better to be a babyface or a heel. Well, this is the quote from Roman Reigns. Well, the business was its most successful with me as a heel, but the future looks bright, so we'll see. I think babyface is an easier side to actually perform in, but it's so much more fun as a bad guy, and that's via Bloomberg Power Players. So this is certainly interesting, I would have to say. Listen, I if I was a wrestler, I think I would prefer to be the heel. Being a heel, they always say, it just gives you so much more ability to be a real person versus being a baby face. You kind of have to be this perfect, you know what I mean? It just feels like being a heel just is so much easier in the sense it's not always easier to get over and get that kind of heat, right? Because it is tough to kind of get to the level of heat like a Dominic Mysterio may get. But I do believe that it's just like, being a baby face. Like you look at Cody Rhodes' character as a baby face, and you're like, this guy just has to be perfect all the time. He just has to he just has to be when he's giving his promos, he has to be spot on, not to cross any line that would make him a heel. Whereas if you're in your heel, you just say whatever the hell you want. And sometimes you may say something people like, and then you get a little cheer, but you could always do things to kind of get more and more heelish. And I think, what is Roman better at? I think Roman, and I do think this is what WWE should do moving forward. It has to be kind of the Steve Austin method, the Triple H method, the Rock method, which is don't put these guys like Cody Rhodes. I think you can genuinely put him into the babyface category. John Cena, I think you could genuinely put him into the babyface category. Someone like Roman Reigns, you don't have to expressly say this guy's a babyface, this guy's a heel. Have him be Roman Reigns. That was Steve Austin for so long. Steve Austin was a babyface. The Undertaker was technically a babyface. These guys were cheered, not booed. But Austin, he did whatever the hell he wanted, right? Undertaker did whatever the hell he wanted. It took him really teaming up with Vince, right? Undertaker, for him to start truly getting booed in a lot of these things. So I think that's probably the best path forward for WWE with Roman Reigns. Like, don't put him into either one of those categories. The beauty of the bloodline is that when The Rock comes back, if everything holds true, and you have that feud, it's going to be this weird mix where nobody knows who the hell to root for between the two. My guess is Roman will definitely be the more babyface than The Rock. But it doesn't have to be this clean cut deal, right? It doesn't have to mean that you change what has been such a successful character for all these years. Let the audience decide who they like and let him do whatever he wants to do and let the chips fall where they may. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. So, according to Jim Ross on his podcast, he was not asked to be interviewed for this documentary. So this is what he said on his podcast. It all depends on how much involvement in a production sense that Vince is going to have on the project. Look, he's a controversial guy, and this is a hell of a story. I can tell you Bill Simmons is really talented. His 30 for 30s, all the things he's accomplished are significant. Tiger King made money and it worked. I'm anxious to see how much in depth on the production side, the storytelling side, the screenwriting side that Vince is going to have in this thing. He can make it or break it. There's always a way to end at the end to make a guy hold to some degree. I expect that to happen here. But boy, what a hell of a story. I mean, if you're a storyteller like Simmons and the other cat, you hit storytelling gold because you can't write this stuff. It just doesn't seem feasible, but it is. It's real. How real it stays and how accurate the storytelling is will be everything about the success of this. Our beloved wrestling fans will know this story as well as the storytellers. I'm excited to see it. I'll be sure as hell watching it. I'm intrigued by it. There was a point in time where I never thought it would occur. I never thought it would make air, but we were wrong on that one. So then he was asked about being interviewed. So no, I wasn't interviewed for it. He didn't say he wasn't interviewed for it. That was in brackets, but he meant that. He said, yeah, I was also surprised by that too. What are you afraid of? What's ours to be afraid of? Why wouldn't you interview me? And then finally, down at the line, concluding, no one closer to Vince than me at certain times in my tenure, right hand man type material. I never got a call. Maybe they didn't feel like I was viable enough to follow up. I would have been happy to do an interview if I had been approached, but that didn't occur. And I'm not sure why, because I know every secret, every corner, the whole 9 yards. My feelings aren't hurt because I wasn't involved in it. Might be better that I wasn't, just because it would be easier to watch. A lot of us hate seeing ourselves on television. So that's from Inside the Ropes Wrestling. They put that transcript together. So this is weird to me because it is true. I mean, look, I don't even know the full story as to what happened with JR and why he's in AEW and how that all broke down. But the one thing is for sure is that for his entire time in WWE, even though he was an announcer on TV, he was far more than that to the company. I mean, he was a big, big part of the company and a big, big part of Vince McMahon. He knows the guy better than most people would. And so I don't know why necessarily he wasn't interviewed, and we'll see where that comes, why that was the case, or maybe they just figured they didn't want to bring him in because he had, if there's bad blood in a way between two people, maybe they figure if we bring him in, well, that's just going to be one side of the story. I don't know exactly why that is, but I cannot wait for this documentary. It's going to be interesting to see. And according to, basically the reports, we know that WWE doesn't have any kind of control over this, right? This is something that is being done. If they did at one point, that control went away once the allegations came out because they didn't want to be associated with that, right? They didn't want to look like they were covering something up or doing anything. So because of that, they're, according to the reports, that's what's going on here. But we'll have to see the final product, and I'll be reading different things about this because I'm sure there's people that know a lot more than I do. So when I see something that's either not true or that might have been WWE doing this or WWE doing that, I want to look and read, and we'll bring that all to you. But we're going to try to be fair because we're going to review each episode. We're going to be fair about it. We're going to look at them, and we're just hopefully everyone can enjoy the history of WWE. And then at the end, I guess I think they said the last few episodes or the last episode is going to be the super serious allegations that Vince is facing. I'm not sure if they're going to kind of touch on those allegations in the timeline as well, because some of them go back far. So I'm not sure if they're going to be interjected in between these things, or they're just going to say, look, we're going to do the story of WWE, all of these type of things, and then these other allegations are coming at the end in one video so you understand what's going on. But we will see. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Hulk Hogan signed a 5-year deal, according to himself, on the Logan Paul show. Now, Impulsive, but I don't know, is this a new 5-year deal or had he signed this previously? I'm not entirely sure about that. So we're just going to tell you what he said and then we'll get into it. He said, I signed a 5-year deal. I'm going to be 71 years old in a few weeks, but I signed a 5-year deal for the licensing and merchandising stuff and the ambassador stuff. If they need me to do something for WrestleMania, I just love doing it. So WWE is really going far, far, far and getting as many of these stars as they can back on these deals, right? I think this is part of the plan of, and it's not that this wasn't happening before, but I think this is part of the plan that, WWE has is, look, they know what they have right now, and they know how special these kind of returns are for star after star after star, especially these legends. And so they're trying to utilize them in a way that, can help boost not only the current product, but maybe reach out to some of those older fans who maybe have gone astray, right? Some of those older fans who maybe, I'm not watching wrestling anymore, haven't watched it in years. And now they can come back because they're like, oh, Stone Cold's going to be on WrestleMania, or Hulk Hogan's going to be back. I mean, these type of things, I think, are things that could draw interest from a crowd that probably went away. Because I'm just speaking from my own, experience. I came back to wrestling and started watching it again after taking a pretty decent hiatus, like 5-6 years, just because the product just didn't line up to what it was in the Attitude Era, in my opinion, or even in the Ruthless Aggression Era. I really think the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era kind of get tied together, when the Ruthless Aggression Era was very good too. And there were certainly, people talk about, did they kind of just do crazy stuff to do crazy stuff in that era? And maybe, right, maybe they try to recapture some of that Attitude Era magic and it wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, both those eras were just so good to me, and I loved WWE for that time. And then it went PG, and I thought it wasn't even just the going of PG that was the problem. It just didn't feel that great. It just wasn't. I wasn't feeling excited to watch it, and it was probably maybe 2 years, a year and a half ago. Maybe that WrestleMania when Cody Rhodes first loses, which was WrestleMania 39. That's when I really started like, all right, let's get back into it a lot because it was just exciting. And I realized that I had missed actually some pretty exciting storylines that I had to catch up on, like the beginning of the Bloodline and all of that kind of stuff. And so bringing guys, not just Hulk Hogan, but whether it's Austin, whether it's Undertaker, whether it's Cena, people from those eras, them coming back, I think will get just people to tune in again, right? Just get people to say, well, I'm not going to watch Raw all the time, but let me see this pay per view. And then you can see the kind of matches they got, right? You can see how the women's division has absolutely just taken off. I mean, it is as deep as it's been maybe ever, right? Right now, with two fantastic storylines going on, or the Bloodline storyline, which is one of the all time great storylines. And you feel like it's been around for all these years because it has, and it still feels like it's just in the beginning. Like we still have all this area to go. And then what's going on with the Judgment Day and now Braun Breaker. I mean, WWE is just, as Triple H said, to steal a quote from him, is a rocket ship right now. So that's what I took away from this. They're just trying to sign all of these legends as they can, all the people who helped build the company at any point. Look, let's get the more figures out there for them, right? Let's get the merchandise going. Let's have them make a few one-off appearances because that's the stuff that keeps people tuning in. Like, what's the point of tuning into Raw live if you don't think anything shocking is going to happen? You could just watch it whenever you want, or watch clips. Like, the shock factor is what we're here for, right? We want to see, oh my God, this person returned, or oh my God, this person is fighting this person now. We didn't see that coming, and you don't want that spoiled, so you want to watch it live. So I think this is all good news on WWE's front. Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and we will see you next time. All right, everyone. So the first trailer for Vince McMahon's documentary has been released. Here it is. All right, so if you didn't see the trailer, that's because I don't know if they're going to hit it with a copyright or not. We're not going to fight it if they do, but I just wanted to react to what we saw in the trailer. It's on Netflix's YouTube if you can't see it. So here's the big thing, okay? To me, this trailer actually tells us a lot, and I could be way off on all of this. So this is 100% theorizing, but from what I saw, it looks to me like you could tell where this documentary was going to head and where it is heading now. Because if you look, you have an interview with Vince McMahon, you have Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, Triple H at one point. I think The Undertaker was also in there, or he may be. And it looks like the initial plan for this thing was going to probably be something that Vince was heavily in WWE were heavily involved in. I don't think they were going to have any problem diving into kind of the controversies of WWE over the past, decades that Vince has been at the top. But then you can notice a striking change about towards the end of that trailer when they get into the new allegations. And these new allegations, it seems like you could tell that WWE probably is going to have very little sway or impact on that or contribution. And I think that was a completely different tone. And this was something I was interested in seeing. I was very interested in trying to find out, okay, how was WWE involved in this? How was Vince involved with this? How did the allegations change this documentary in terms of tone and all of that? And so my guess is what we're going to see here, and at least what I'm hoping for, and I think this should give people some, some hope, is I think we're going to get an actual look at the history of WWE, at Vince McMahon, and I don't think it's going to be a deal where we go, okay, we're going to present one side or present the other side. I think we're going to get a very thoughtful look at his career. So the controversies will be in there. The successes of WWE as a whole will also be a part of it. So people will get to know the history of WWE, and they'll also, because clearly it's in this trailer as well, you'll get episode. I think only one episode, but you're gonna get an episode about the allegations against Vince and all of that. And I hope that's what we get to see. I'm so excited for this documentary because I think everyone kind of likes this. A lot of the documentaries you get about WWE are usually produced by WWE themselves, and so they're kind of telling their story. At least with this, even if WWE had say in it, even if you're getting interviews from Vince and former WWE wrestlers, at least it still has one level of okay, separation, right? It's not a WWE produced documentary where they have complete control over everything that's going in. They may have some sway in this, especially in the early parts, because like I said, I really just don't see Vince doing some of these documentaries, like him sitting down for this interview, if he didn't, if he thought this was just going to be a slam piece. But I think the good news is we're going to get the history. We're going to get a lot of that stuff. We're going to get to hear from Vince himself. We're going to get to hear from all of these wrestlers. And then we're also going to get to hear about the new allegations that came out when this thing was basically already done, right? This whole documentary was seemingly done, and then the allegations came out, and so now they had to add that in at the end. And whether they mix that in with the other episodes, I'm not sure. But I cannot wait for this documentary. Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and we will see you next time.